This is Jed McKay, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 294, and as always, you are with both of your high priests of Khonshu, Rebecca and Ray. Rebecca, how are you going?
Doing all right. It's a bit hot here, but apart from that, it's good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
My gosh, it must be nice to, kind of be. I was about to say. Must be nice to be nice and sweaty, but that's
no, it's
sometimes
really
it's not comfortable.
No, it's unpleasant.
It's quite cold here, I think, as well. So I do have the heater on, hence I'm allowed to just have a t-shirt on. But yes, loony listeners, we are here, of course, for a Moonshine. We're looking at a new comic book. It just got dropped this week. It's Moon Knight Volume 9, Issue 13 by Jed McKay and Federico Sabatini. And as always, a huge thank you to our sponsors, all our patroonies, of course, and our principal sponsors, Daniel Doing, Drew Terms, Frank the Think Tank, Odin Sword, CLZ Comics, and Dreamland Comics from Schaumburg, Illinois. But also a big thank you to a new patroonie. We forgot to mention it, Rebecca, last episode, so apologies there. But a big welcome to Jonathan Sapsid. He's a long time, listener and loony, Rebecca. He's been listening from the start. Much. Yeah, so a huge thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, and welcome. Hopefully, you'll be enjoying all the bonus content as well that Rebecca and I and others have in store as well. Before we kick into it, Rebecca, any news, anything that's been happening lately? You mentioned that you watched Thor recently.
Yeah, we've had Thor and the finale of Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
We probably shouldn't talk about either because it's probably a little bit close to spoilers for both of them still.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's happened. We've had the announcement of the Moon Knight annual with
that's right, of course.
My very favorite Werewolf by Night. So
yeah, bit of nibbling happening.
Happening over Halloween in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned to you, Rebecca, as well. By the way, yes, Russell. Hello, Russell. And Jonathan. Well done. Jonathan's following Gamma Charge as well, Russell's Hulk podcast. But Rebecca, we had a bit of a chuckle offline. I do recall us talking with Jed, and I think we did bring up the subject of an annual.
We asked when you decide to have an annual.
Totally innocently.
Like how rare Moon Knight ones have been.
It's crazy. So Jed must have been like,
I know, right?
What's going on?
And we'll get back to that later, I think.
We will.
Yeah. But also Moon Knight Core, so shout out to them, said that they think this is one of the only times an annual's been written by the same creative team that's on the main book.
Yeah, nice call. Yeah, because the last one I recall was Cullen Bunn.
Yeah.
And that was totally different, of course, to... It came out after or before? I can't remember. Or during.
I can't remember. But quite often when you think about annuals, they get a different team on. So I mean, obviously because the main team's usually tied up doing the monthly issues. But I mean, we do. So, but when we say the main team, I think the annuals with Sabatini, not with Capuccio. So, but we've had Sabatini do a lot of these special issues, so that I count him as the main team. But I think Moon Knight Core with the main writer specifically, but I expanded to the main team. So.
Yeah.
Because we count Sabatini. He's part of the gang.
We count him. Yeah. He's been around. He's no stranger to Jed McKay and his writing. And also, oh my gosh, I just had something at the tip of my tongue. Oh yes, we might as well jump to it. Rebecca, I put it in the spectacle, but when we did cover the collectibles and the action figures last episode, of course, shortly after they announced a new Funko Moon Knight.
Well, I think it had been announced, but just
Okay.
nobody knew when it was going on sale. And the day after we recorded, it went on sale.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, listeners, just as an addendum to our previous episode, you can get another Moon Knight Funko Pop. It's the weapon version, I think.
Yeah, it's the Moon Knight outfit, but in a different pose with weapons. So, and it's only available from the Funko site, I think. For European, it's Funko Europe. So.
Okay. And for us Aussies, it's somewhere. We'll be
somewhere.
Sure we can find it.
Yeah.
So apart from that, I mean, they are big bits of news, new Funko annual.
More than we normally have,
Yeah. And I mean, and next week, I mean, we'll get to that as well. There's more Moon Knight goodness. You can't get rid of us that easily. But before then, of course, Rebecca, shall we jump into our Moonshine?
Let's do it.
Yes, it's our Moonshine segment where Rebecca and I take a swig and talk about the new comics. In this case, it is, of course, as mentioned, issue 13. Now, Rebecca, if I can share, if I can do this properly, it seems to work. There we go.
Nice.
We're up and running. So what we have released, obviously, July 13th, not long ago at all, just yesterday. We have this beautiful new comic book, cover art by Steven Segovia and Rochelle Rosenberg, and of course, Jed McKay writing with penciler Federico Sabatini, colorist, again, Rochelle Rosenberg, letterer Corey Petit, and editor Tom Brevoort. Rebecca, what did you make of this cover? I mean, we don't often discuss covers.
It's a nice action cover.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, I like the colors. The colors work really well. Everything looks nicely in proportion. I think it's a really effective cover. You get a nice power pose, lots of blood, but not in a stupid way. And you could definitely tell he's railing on vamps.
Yes, actually, I did not note. I mean, when it mentioned Steven Segovia being the artist and Patronies and Loonies, you may say, Ray, you ignoramus. But yeah, it's very similar to the art, I think, of Sabatini. I didn't really notice it as a real difference. And I mean that in a good way. I mean, not saying that's vastly superior or inferior, but a pretty full cover. It covers a lot of the page of Moon Knight front and center. And we get the old vampires in their olden day kind of clothes.
I know you think that. I just think they're slightly like.
Oh, that's right.
Like, it's just like not that not that good clothes. I mean, they're just kind of like, they look like almost sort of businessmen who've taken their jackets off.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's true. I mean, for sure. We do have feedback from Russell as well. Okay. See, Russell was duped as well. He thought that was Sabatini on the cover. But Segovia it is. Now, listeners, of course, this is available in floppy format and in digital. And what Rebecca and I will usually do is we'll go through a bare bones, which is a synopsis. Then we'll kind of get into, I guess, some of the main points of the story that stood out, and we'll just discuss that. And peppered and sprinkled in and around that, we might talk.
We're doing it note free, so this will be fun.
Rebecca.
I think people will be impressed at how good we are note free. Okay. I'm confident in our ability to discuss this. So.
Yes, I mean there's for sure. I think there's plenty there to discuss. So okay, look, I'll read this out. I did write this very late in the piece, Rebecca. I did read this very late in the piece. Just quite busy, but I did give it a good read. And now I should be able to have a little bit of music in the background as I play this, as I read this. So let me just set that up. Okay, and here we go. Here's the bare bones. Taskmaster chats with the Shooter, the leader of the vampire syndicate that Reese is a part of. And the two talk about the thorn in their side, namely Moon Knight. Having gone after the group responsible for turning Reese into a vampire, Moon Knight edges closer to coming face-to-face with Tutor. Meanwhile, Tutor is busy assessing whether Taskmaster is fit for the job of taking on the Fist of Khonshu, and ultimately discovers that Masters is no match for Mark Spector. In his stead, Tutor employs two other mercenaries, Mian and Grand Mal, to track down and kill Moon Knight. Elsewhere, Tigra and Reese chat about Moon Knight's actions and try to make sense of recent events that resulted in the appearance of Stephen Grant. Added to this, it is revealed that Soldier, who seemingly died at the hands of Zodiac, is alive and well. However, undead would seem more appropriate, as Soldier has been turned into the ways of a vampire. Yep. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of it.
Like, nobody called Soldier getting vamped.
No, which Rebecca, that
Very happy.
when you messaged me and I had not read it yet, but the moment that I saw it, I was like, yes, nice.
I mean,
nice.
it made sense from what we knew about Reese, but I wasn't sure if they'd do it because, you know, sometimes it's good to have a death.
Yes, exactly. And to have that impact. And I thought that too as well. I thought Soldier was dispensable enough. I mean, he had been built up to an extent by Jed McKay, but I thought the impact of having him killed at the end of the second arc was basically his purpose, you know, and so that was totally, I think, justified.
Yeah.
And understandable that we were, I guess it's fair to say, would be happy to have not seen him again.
But it is quite good that it sets this up. Like, this is the tutor's reason for stepping in a bit more.
Yes, that's right. So, I mean, let's jump to the key moment. We are talking about Soldier, which is one of the big reveals for this. But I do like that aspect, how Tudor was saying as well. I'm not going to find the exact page, but he's
not only killing them, but he's also got some defectors, and now they've started making their own vampires.
Yeah, which he says before we get the reveal of Soldier. So that was a nice lead in by McKay to give us a bit of a like, what does he mean? That certainly is, I think, a great point. From that, I guess if we bounce from Soldier to the Tutor, he's been introduced, I guess, as the next big bad. Rebecca.
Potentially, I mean, potentially. I mean, he's definitely the bad for this. Like, we don't know. He might be one of those ones that just comes back at key moments.
Yeah.
So, but he's definitely setting himself up against Moon Knight and his current group of friends. So it's not just Moon Knight he's after, but he knows Moon Knight's the leader. So.
Yeah, and it ties into all the way back to issue 1 as well, when we do see Reese and the others as part of that kind of vampiric pyramid scheme of being turned and going up, up the chain. It appears that this guy, is well part of that, and he's kind of near the top. I mean, that's the sense that I got. So, and so it is also, I guess, framed as well that much of this comic, I guess, is framed with his conversation with Taskmaster. And the fact that he wants Moon Knight.
I mean, it's a lovely reference back to the bottom and stuff like that, and obviously Jed has a good take on Taskmaster, having written some Taskmaster, so it's a great bit of it, so we've got a couple of very typical Jed twists here, in that you think Taskmaster's there to go fight, and he'll explain for pages why he isn't going to go fight Moon Knight. And then we left an issue with assuming Soldier was dead for an entire issue, and this is like, no, he's not dead, but actually it's caused these other problems. There's these, and then we'll get back to the other stuff at the end, but they just both seem very typical of what I've come to get from him, is that they're things that you could feasibly guess, but they're not what we're used to seeing in comics as much. Soldier more than maybe the Taskmaster thing, but it makes complete sense within the way we're presented it and the way it's written. So
yeah, again, it's I think it's typical and consistent of McKay's writing up to this point, where he still manages to give us our reference to the source material in the bottom, but also surprise us at the same time. Yeah, I wonder how many people. Do you reckon many people suspected that Soldier wasn't dead at the end of?
I think the last episode is what made me think maybe he was, because I thought we'd see it straight away, or we'd see Reese talk about it, or them have some sort of debate about whether it was ethical or not to vamp someone against their will when that's what's happened to Reese, which we may get in the future, and maybe Dr. Sturman will be part of that. But but quite a few of us sort of suggested it was within Reese's, like the kind of thing she would do. So I don't think it was like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people guessed it was a feasible outcome.
Yeah, Mario, case in point as well. Hello, Mario. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure there would be people that. Yeah, I mean, it came across our minds as well, but I guess
big proponents of it. We like that, and it did seem like to do, but it's cool that it has caused problems.
Yeah, and it's true that it's like, you know, by way of writing, there's a purpose to this. Like, you know, McKay hasn't just done this just for the sake of it. It's being cool. It's a cool idea to turn him into a vampire. It's now intrinsic to what will be this next story arc, which I think is very cool.
I also particularly liked how when Reese was newly vamped and he saved her, she was the one getting coffee, but now Soldier's kind of like the next newbie. You're on the coffee rounds now.
Yeah, he's
I thought that was very funny.
Let me just pull that forward to I loved having again Tigra here. And I see
great.
I'm just having a little look there. It's not really an Apple sign on the laptop, it's just a diamond. You know how they play with that sometimes.
Yeah.
So Soldier's here.
Oh, he's not getting coffee, he's getting boxes.
Carrying the boxes.
Similar kind of thing,
doing the heavy lifting, but he definitely, I mean, of course, he has the red eyes, which kind of give it away. Very similar to Gambit's eyes, I thought, Rebecca.
A little bit, but I guess like Reese, they don't always have to be. Well, no, they are always red, aren't they? Which is cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so Soldier was a nice, I think, twist. As we mentioned, back to Taskmaster, that character is close to Jed. We get the, if I can find it, it's not visually kind of, this here, where Taskmaster basically references having a damn helicopter dropped on him. So a beautiful reference there to the bottom, 2006 by Charlie Houston. I guess actually also as well, just thinking about, I would have loved to see Taskmaster take on Moon Knight again, but at the same time, I think it's also quite well. I mean, what are your thoughts on Taskmaster going, look, hey, I'm not going to fight you. I'm scared as hell of you. What did you make? I mean,
well, he said before that that's someone he doesn't like going against. So I think it makes sense. I think it's interesting he came to warn Moon Knight. I think that's I don't have any strong thoughts about it. Like, I think it makes sense that he chose not to fight Moon Knight if it was taken as a mercenary thing, because he said he doesn't enjoy doing it, and he can probably get other work. You know, it's not going to be hard for him. But yeah, so it was an interesting interaction between.
Yeah, and I guess he is
always
smart.
Love seeing Taskmaster anyway.
Yeah, and he is smart. You know, there's a reason why he does survive his encounters with, as he said, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Captain America.
Always Captain America. He fights him all the time.
All the time. Yeah. And I was like, when I initially read this, I was kind of, oh gosh, I'm no Taskmaster aficionado by any means, but I did think, oh look, is that kind of against the grain of his character to be kind of so?
I think he does whatever he feels like doing. And,
I think so.
Given that he's said that he doesn't like fighting Moon Knight, it makes sense. I mean, for anyone interested, he's in the Marvel Infinity comic this week, Avengers Unlimited. So you get to see him pull off a few of his other You can get to see him hitting on Iron Man, I think it is this time. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I get what I was heading towards, I guess, was that the more I thought about it and the way that, Jed has referenced his time in the bottom with Charlie Houston's run, it kind of does make sense. He was as scared as hell of Moon Knight in that run. Eventually, deservedly as well. Yeah. So it is consistent, I guess, throughout. So I guess that's but yeah, I thought it's always because he's such a cool character. I guess you want to see him fight, but the last couple of times I've seen him, there was a semi fight in the Iron Fist part of the dragon at the beginning. But it wasn't. I didn't think it was enough.
I mean, there is a very short one in that. I think actually might be Cap who's fighting. It's either Cap or Iron Man. And I think it's Cap. Yeah. So you get to see him, but it's not. I mean, it's not a long comic, and it's one of the Infinity comics, so it's quite a small sequence. But it's nice to see him.
Okay.
It's always nice to see him fight, but that's what makes this one almost more interesting.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's mostly him and the tutor just talking, and then and as you say, the strange thing if he comes over and has this respect, I guess, for Moon Knight to warn him, and just basically lay it on the line. I'm not gonna fight you. I was asked to, but I'm not going to. This is probably a good opportunity as well, Rebecca, to look at the art. What did you make of Sabatini's? We have seen his stuff before.
I again liked it a lot more this time.
Me too.
Yeah.
The colors here,
well, the colors are great, but it seemed a little bit less. I don't know. It seemed more polished than Devil's Reign, and it may be because there were more complicated things to draw. He may have just had more time with this one, which is what I suspect happened. I suspect there wasn't as much time.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, and look, obviously the colors help, but I think it just seems more polished to me all around. And for the men, the women, the vampires, everything, the buildings, so across the board. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, looking at Looney, sorry, we are live streaming, so apologies for any references to visuals if you are listening to this as a podcast. But those who are tuning in or checking out the video, you can see some of the pages we're referring to. But yeah, I mean, I me too. I was really impressed with his art here, especially in conjunction with the colors. Like for instance. I mean, it's a simple thing that has been done over and over, but again, Moon Knight just pops out here because I think Rochelle Rosenberg's colors just make the white just really stick out. She's got nice combinations here, but the art itself is really, really cool. It still has that Sabatini like angular look, like the cape and everything seems quite jagged. Sometimes you see here his face and the hood, the way the hood moves, it does look a little strange, but I guess that's inimitable to Sabatini's Moon Knight. I like the fact that Moon Knight's got a huge ass machete.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, and we see here, I didn't notice that before, but we see a decapitated head. So, blood splattered everywhere. Yeah. So again, I guess because they're not human, that we can get away. Yeah. But the art was largely, I think, really, really good. More so in the I think in the action, but I also enjoyed Tigra and Reese. And
they're great.
Where is it? I've gone the wrong way. Let me go back.
You're not far off. With the big,
I mean, looking at Reese,
she looks great.
She does. Yeah, I would not. That to me would be like a Capuccio, very similar. She looks very similar to Capuccio. It's only once, I guess, near here, and again in a good way.
Yeah, it's just Tigra's a slight difference.
Tigra's got a little bit more of that. We spoke about it before. Sabatini's got a little bit more of like a manga, anime kind of look. But it's always great to see Tigra. She's she's over there as well. What did you make of this headline, Rebecca, in the news?
I mean, we all cheered, right? And it's not just a headline. Like Tigra actually mentions it.
Yes.
Says, look, he was one of Mark's enemies.
Yeah. So again, Jed, referencing some classic villains. Hopefully, it looks like we'll potentially see Midnight Man soon again. I'm really, to be honest, I'm not that excited about Midnight Man, but the prospect of potentially Jeff Wild, like Midnight, would be pretty cool. Actually, I'm excited about Mogart.
I like it. I like Reese also calls Tigra like, oh, now you're not a snitch, because she won't talk about the DID. But that's surprising. I'm surprised that the DID hasn't come up with Reese before, but I guess it hasn't. And but then that's fair enough. Your conversations with your therapist are your own, and
true.
Yeah, but that'll be interesting.
And that obviously is going to lead into issue 14, which I know at least one loony in our community, Rebecca Lena, part of the DID system, is looking forward to.
Well, I'm sure we all are, but
we are absolutely.
But Lena's actually seen it.
And drop it again. Loonies who don't know, Lena has had the privilege, been able to consult with Jed McKay on issue 14. So they've actually they've seen or read most of the script. So very exciting. I'm very excited to see what happens next issue, and it's a good lead in as well. I mean, we only get a couple of pages towards the end, but let me just get there. Nice little transition, gentlemen. I think it's time we talk. They're all in the same kind of pose.
I know. Do you want to know what's really funny? When I first read it, I thought the Nemean and Grand Mal reveal was the last page.
Well, me too. It made sense.
When I went back to reread, I went, "What? There's more?"
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, I was in the lead up when you have the tutor looking again tropishly, looking outside the window into the skyline beyond, and he's talking, and he turns around. It's kind of rife for here's the big splash reveal at the end, and there they are. Now, actually, this is a good point. Nemean and Grand Mal, Rebecca. Do you know are they existing characters?
First appearances, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
I had a chat with a friend of mine who's got epilepsy about how we feel about Grand Mal as a name for a baddie. So that'll be interesting. That's the old name for a seizure.
Okay. Right.
So we will see. We've decided that it depends on the power set.
Yes, and so I'm assuming.
And Nemean is a reference to the Nemean lion for Hercules, as you obviously know.
Yeah, well, that's it's interesting though because to me he looks more like what's the guy's name? He fought Spider-Man.
Everyone fights Spider-Man.
I know. Is the monkey a guy that really tragically died?
I thought he looked more like Sabretooth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was a gorilla body, but
I'm guessing it's supposed to be like a lion mane.
The pelts,
that might actually just be shoulder pads. So
okay, and if it's anything like the Nemean lion, loonies, then we're looking at, I guess, a strong guy with, I'm assuming, unbreakable skin or
something like that.
Because the Nemean lion had the.
It does look a bit like Shatterstar to whoever just said that.
He does.
A sort of chunky version of Shatterstar.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Sorry, I've been missing these comments here. I've been just looking at the comment. Yeah, couldn't find. Yep, on the.
That's Russell.
Okay, and looks like Shatterstar to me. Yeah, it does look a bit. I was really trying to get into the details. It's very weird kind of headpieces that they both have.
Yeah, I mean, they guess they're both a little bit vampire-y. They look a bit fangy. The headpieces.
They do. I don't know. He's looked like he's got like the lower jaw of something, and I don't know what she has. It's like
I'm not sure we have. So this is what we decided, that if the face mask has got anything to do with seizures, it's probably a bad name. If it's got anything to do with anything else, then it's probably fine, because Grand Mal just means big bad, right? So
right, yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, I've missed a few comments here. Sorry, Dolia has said as well, Moon Knight's going to be in the new Miss Marvel and Wolverine run, and Dolia also mentions Midnight Man's going to be in it. I haven't been up to date with the run, not my favorite villain, but that could lead to some interesting stuff to come. Would love to see Black Spectre again. Oh yes, you should get in touch with Russell. He loves Black Spectre. But sure, absolutely. This is a great villain. So yeah, interesting to see how these villains turn up. For the speculators, Rebecca, I guess issue 13, snap it up. If these villains become hot
Look,
stuff.
I almost went and bought a second copy, and then I was like, no, I just don't care.
But I mean, it is. We didn't open up with our overall impressions, but this was again another very strong, I think, opening.
Oh, this one's great. This one's like, it's so good.
I mean, Jed knows how to like set things up.
He really does.
And I think he's got the balance of, having that dialogue, and then, I mean, sure, we have the fights with the vampires as well, which are really quite dynamic, and I think the art really does help with that as well. So yeah, I mean, we know that this is a setup as well, so there's bound to be more action to come, especially with the villains like the Man and Grand Mal. I'm just thinking, have we missed any points here in particular? I don't think so. I think Reese,
so.
Reese and Tigra have been there. It's a little. I was just thinking about like Mr. Knight as well, just where he kind of fits in, because Moon Knight does kind of chop and change. I guess the Cape Moon Knight is more the all-out action.
He tends to go out and do more of the actual fighting,
yeah.
And Mr. Knight tends to do more of the meeting people, speaking to people.
Yeah, which is consistent.
Drinking coffee. It's just it's an important thing, to the drinking of coffee.
And he also has, it's nice to also kind of get more of a return to the sessions with Dr. Sturman, because
that was really interesting to go back to that and talk about how she is, like her kidnapping and things like that. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw Dr. Sturman, it wasn't Dr. Sturman, it was like Waxman in I think issue 10. So Sturman had been, well, we did see her later on, just kind of minded by
but just being looked after.
Yeah. But I mean, that was an interesting interaction as well, just to kind of address that. I'm just quickly scanning through what they were talking about. It's again, Mr. Knight kind of feeling responsible for, for Soldier, what happened to Soldier, basically. It's a bit of a discussion on that, like, is this before? Yeah, this is before the reveal as well.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if, which is good, because it's almost for us, the reader, an affirmation that, Soldier is gone. Like Mr. Knight is grieving. He gives us that little red herring.
It's cleverly written, because like you just, could be either way, except for that little, the dialogue there. Yeah.
So very cool. I think Dr. Sturman with Tigra and Reese, I think we've covered pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be that seems like to be the end of Taskmaster? I think he's just for this issue.
Yeah, I think he's just dropped in and then gone off to take up his contract against Captain America for the Infinity Comics.
So I think and any references we know was in the bottom Houston's run.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to
reference to Midnight Man?
Oh yes, of course.
But new villains, and then we get to the Reese asking about Stephen Grant.
Yeah, cool. It's great. It's good that they didn't immediately get into that straight away, because that was the big reveal at the end of issue 12. So that's still kind of bubbling. It will come to the surface, obviously, in issue 14. Because
I like that she goes straight to ask him, like just after she's been talking about, just after Tigra says you'll have to ask him. She goes straight away to go ask him, pretty much. So I like her. She's no nonsense.
Yeah, and I think these are the first panels then that we actually get of active like Mark and Jake, because we have only really seen them in issue 1. In photographs on the wall.
And we saw them on his little pocket, didn't we? The little sarcophagi.
Oh yes. In that.
Or they just name tags. God, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. But this is really just edging towards. Again, I love Jake's panel. Just with the colors and the lighting, the effects there, really cool. Just trying to have a look. Is he he's got, what is that in front of him? Is that, I first thought he was in a cab, but he's not.
No, he
he's
looks more like he's
on
in
a balcony or
I was going
theatre.
to say a theatre, yeah, theatre or
Yeah.
cinema. It doesn't look like the balcony of a theatre, though.
You're right. I think it's very much like, I wonder what that means. Very good. But I'm loving it. Rebecca, if there's nothing more to add, do you want to give this a rating?
Oh, am I going first?
Oh yeah. Oh, if you need some time, I can vamp.
I think it gets really high. I reckon like 9.5.
Wow, 9.5.
Yeah, it has everything. It literally has everything.
Let me just add that in. Yeah, it's
really hard to score it down on anything, in my opinion.
That's a good one, Rebecca. Yeah. Let me just add this in. You kind of, I feel slightly.
No, you go with you.
Yes, so 9.5, a great mark there from Rebecca. I went for like 7.5. I guess I was a bit more conservative. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I gave it a 7.5. I'm just curious as to where it will go, in a good way. Like, I'm not
that's it totally makes sense. I think for me it was just like, we've just finished this 12-issue arc, and this is like a cracking start to a new arc.
It's a very
I think we're coming at it a different scoring way, in that you want to know more about it. I was just like, this is such a great kickoff that I understand why. But interesting.
I mean, like,
it's nice because we're usually within about half a point of each other.
Yeah,
so it's kind of nice stuff.
So Rebecca has given almost a big fuck off moon. You're somewhere in between there and a full moon. I've gone, again, hovering around the solid round boy and the big beautiful yellow man. So highly recommended, listeners. If you haven't read it, read the whole thing. We've just skipped over pages here and there, so it really, to do it justice, you've got to read it from beginning to end.
Just looking at the comments.
Oh, the comments
in the chat.
Oh, wow. Oh no, who is this person?
Wow, I think it's Russell. I'm just going to Facebook to try and find out. Yeah.
Somebody say by expect. Yes.
They're all Russell.
Okay, this is one of my favorites, but it feels totally different than the previous issues. Yeah, I totally agree, Russell. And look, 7.5 again. I'm just being.
It's not a bad score.
No, not bad at all. It's very solid. But again, like, I think I've been excited with beginnings of arcs before, and as far as setups go as well, this is top notch as well. But like, just kind of want to see where it goes. I see the pieces in place here with the new villains, and we've got a touch of Midnight Man, so it's all looking good. I'm really enjoying it. So definitely give that a listen. Speaking of Russell, Rebecca, why don't we move on to before I forget, to some of our quotation marks. Thank you to Carpe DM for the new name of the segment. This is our feedback for this issue. And let's kick off with a voicemail. So we got this from none other than Russell, host of Gamma Charge, the Hulk podcast, and Times of Evil. So I haven't heard this, Rebecca. Let's hear what Russell has to say about this issue.
Hello there. This is Russell from Tomes of Evil and Gamma Charge, and Trapped in a World, and about 1 billion other podcasts that are on the horizon. Yes, busy man. Anyway, I'm here to send my thoughts on Moon Knight number 13. We'll start with the art. The art is fantastic. Sabatini, I think that's his name. Had to make sure that I was pronouncing that correctly. He's great. This is much less anime than the Dark Reign issue was. It's more in line with Capuccio's. It's really good. I love how he draws. Well, I'd say it's no secret. Taskmaster's in this one, and he is used so smartly. You know, he's not. Doesn't fight Moon Knight. He is used as an exposition dump, and he talks about how scared he is of Moon Knight. But we're starting a new arc with vampires, and I'm not sure if the Tutor is a new villain or an old one repurposed, and these two hired goons don't know who they are either, so I'll have to do some research. I really love this issue. We're still getting breadcrumbs. There's no big resolution after the last issue, and I like that. We do get a big reveal that Soldier is dead, or I guess it's better to say he's undead. Yeah, Soldier's a vampire. We don't know what's happened to Zodiac. We just know that Mark, Steven, Jake, Moon Knight is dealing with the repercussions from Zodiac. And he says he's doing it for Reese, but we kind of figure that's bullshit. Tiger's still around. Yeah, Mark is going around, or Moon Knight is going around and taking out the infrastructure of this vampire pyramid scheme thing led by the Tutor, and it's really cool. I'm a big vampire guy, so not literally a big vampire guy, but yeah, I like vampire stories, and this one is really good, and I'm really looking forward to where this arc goes from here. Yeah, bring it on. Bring on some more. That's really all I gotta say. I guess if I was gonna give it a rating, I'd rate this one pretty high, mostly because we're continuing this ongoing story, but we're also getting brand new, fresh coat of paint, and a really interesting direction. I will say 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Rebecca, judging from Russell's score and looking at some of the other comments and feedback we got, geez, yeah, it's all looking good. I feel inadequate. Like only
no, you're allowed. No, because
Yeah,
it just means that like next issue you can go all guns blazing and not feel.
Yeah, I don't want to, but in my defense, like I literally just read it before, so it hasn't absorbed in. But yeah, as I said, I can't reiterate. It is a good issue, and yeah, everyone seems to think so as well, which is cool. We've got a bit of feedback from Facebook.
Yeah, I've got it open if you need me to read the Facebook.
Yeah, would you be able to grab the first one?
Yeah, so from Mario, I'm not gonna. We're on first name terms, Mario. A quiet issue this week, albeit with several twists. The big reveal of Soldier's fate was remarkably well done. Even though I theorized it might happen, the way Jed set it up still caught me off guard. Like any good setup issue, I asked several questions, not all of which have clear answers. Why won't Mark tell Reese he has DID? Just who is the other vampire Tutor was talking about? Morbius? Blade? Why is Midnight Band back? Is this a tie-in to the events in Strange? Just who the beep are Namian and Grand Mal. Their designs scream the 90s to me, but my research didn't find any reference to them anywhere. So they're either brand new or really deep cuts, frustrating, edited to add. Jed revealed on Twitter they're new.
Okay.
If anything, the actual villain of the issue, as opposed to the villain who doesn't want to be in this issue, is the biggest drawback. Tutor doesn't come across as a major threat, more as a vampiric life coach. After Zodiac, it's a bit of a letdown. That being said, the final page definitely piques my interest, and I look forward to more answers in 3 weeks. A solid 8 out of 10.
Thank you so much, Mario. Yeah, he raises a couple of good points there about Tudor. I mean, not the most, visually striking villain, very
But
unassuming.
I don't think they always have to be. Like,
They
I
don't,
mean,
yeah.
I agree. He's not. I don't think he's ever going to be a baddie to sort of challenge many of our other big baddies. But
Yeah.
if we're going with a vampire, then he's clearly the head vampire in this area. So interesting. Yeah.
And Mario mentions about Tudor referring to another vampire. I didn't pick that up. I might have to again.
Yeah, I might
do a
have to go
reread.
back and look at that.
But yeah, I wonder if it's Morbius or Blade, or because I know he was referencing.
I know
Reese
he referenced
and,
Reese and Soldier, but
yes, and the others.
He may have mentioned another one as well.
Yeah, but good pickup, Mario, as well. And of course, why won't Mark tell Reese he has won't Mark tell Reese he has DID? All interesting questions. It seems to be coming into fruition in next issue, but a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Noel, host of Trapped in a World, Howard the Duck podcast, which Russell mentioned as well. I forgot like all the other podcasts that Russell does, but yes, he certainly is part of Howard the Duck. Noel writes in, a goddamn brilliant issue. Bringing back the vampire threat from the top of the run is great, and giving a name and face to the big boss baddie Vampy is fun. I don't know if having Tasky being frightened up Moon Knight holds up to his characterization. I thought the same as well, Noel. But I dig it anyway. Like he said, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Cap, anyone wouldn't kill him, but he knows Mooney would. I sort of guessed the Soldier turn, but still enjoy it and glad he'll be around for a spell. The art is a lot better than the Devil's Reign issue. Again, Rebecca, we've mentioned. I'm still not in love with some of his faces, but the costumes look great. The colors are amazing. Again, yeah. That last page with our 3 altars was a very cool touch. Can't wait to see what's next. 8.5 out of 10 quacks. A big yellow duck. 1.5 points down for the art. Okay. I still like the art, but the faces are too anime for me. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's down a personal taste as well. But still 8.5. Everything else is pretty good if it's only because of the art.
So maybe I was a bit high.
Well, 8.5 is it's good. No, thank you so much, Noel, for dropping in some thoughts. It's always cool to hear from you as well. But everyone seems largely positive here. And Rebecca, we got like one little one from Instagram.
Okay, I'll let you know because I haven't got that one open.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, so this one is from Victor Goncalves 10. And Victor says, I love the Taskmaster, and that finale page was amazing. This run is really amazing. Thank you, Victor. Yeah, it is. And thank you for dropping your thoughts in. It's always great to hear from loonies everywhere. So I'm glad that, you're following us on Instagram. But yes, so thank you, everyone. That's... that's a kind of review, a little run through of the issue, Rebecca. Spectacles, we have kind of called them out already. I think it might have ended now anyway, but go check it out. There's a TeePublic sale. You get free shipping. So I posted that up to some of our social media platforms. And go check out some of the ITK merch there. There's also, for a limited time, some To Know Her Is to Fear Her merch. So if you listen to the Spider-Woman podcast, go consider getting that stuff. Rebecca, a huge thank you once again.
Thank you.
Will we be reconvening next week?
What's next week? Which one's next week?
Yeah,
which comic's out next week? Is it Black, White, and Blood again? Or?
Yes, I'm glad you asked, Rebecca. Next phase is I should turn that off. Next phase is episode 295. It's another Moonshine. It's another new comic book, and yes, Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, issue 3. So Rebecca and I will do a discussion, a review of that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we might get some chats with some of the creators there. So I have reached out to them, and they do seem amenable to having a chat, Rebecca. So we'll do that. Once again, a huge thank you to all our patroonies. A big shout out to Odin, Daniel, Drew, Frank, Justin, Derek, Kyle, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Anthony, Russell, Michael, Mario, Gavin, Matthew, and now Jonathan. And you can consider becoming a patroonie, a Patreon member as well if you go to patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. As mentioned, our principal sponsors, Odin Sword. You can catch him and his brother on Drinking Marvel. That's a Marvel podcast.
Sounds fun,
yeah, where they look at comics and TV shows and movies under the guise of some alcohol. Also, Frank the Think Tank, he's on Instagram, Moon Knight Visions with a Z. Daniel doing Fringe Knight, an original indie comic based on Erie, Pennsylvania's very own mysterious superhero. Go support him on patreon.com/Fringe Knight 27. Our friend Drew Toombs, he's on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Go check out his great music on soundcloud.com/Toombs with a Z, or Lurk Music CK, that's with a CK, sorry, .bandcamp.com. And yes, and you can check all of them out on our premium links at the top of the page in the show notes. Also, as well, CLZ Comics, go check out them. They for all your database needs, and Dreamland Comics. Use the code MOON and you get 20% off their online store. And finally, we are part of the Collective. Some great shows there, like Gamma Charge, the Hulk podcast, or Trapped in the World, the Howard the Duck podcast, or Fantasy Comic League podcast, hosted by Brian, or Rebecca's other one, DCAU. Rebecca, I listened to the Batman and Harley discussion.
Such a hard slog.
Kind of made me again curious, but yeah, anyway,
don't watch that film.
Okay. Listeners as well, thank you so much for dropping your thoughts in this live stream, as well as dropping your thoughts on our social media platforms. You can email us at feedback@ITK Moon Knight. We've got a website, itkmoonnight.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, and Podchaser. I was about to say Get Vocal, Rebecca, but I think they've gone now.
Oh
no. It's just Vocal, VOKL. So yes, and finally, if you'd like to give us a rating, please do. We always love to get ratings, and it helps us get out there a bit more. Rebecca, any other final thoughts? Are you looking forward to
everything? Looking forward to more Black Iron Blood.
Excellent. And with that, loonies, we'll catch you later. And as always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. See you later.
Bye.